he's in Jamaica at this time. Waterhouse starting with one change in their roster today, with Denardo Thomas in for Kenroy Howell, who is injured. But this outside of that looks to be a pretty decent and solid Waterhouse lineup.
Yeah, 100%. We also see the introduction of Rohan Beadle as well. Ricardo Thomas is back within the Waterhouse team. We know that he was injured for quite some time, not really match fit, but they'll be looking to really make some noise in this one.
Yeah, Arnett Garns coming out with the same starting 11 that they used when they defeated Portmore by 3-1, and not surprising that they have done that here. And Shaquan Davis in goal for them, Simpson, Ezran and Earl, Robert Slowly, Martin Sigree, Guthrie their captain, Damari Deacon, Ronaldo Cephas and Janoy Cunningham.
Yeah, we also see Steve Clark, he's on the bench. Shadane Lopez, the man that scored in that 3-1 win against Portmore United, he's on the bench.
Yes. Back at the UWIJFF Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence for Matchday 9 of the Jamaica Premier League, powered by Digicel. And it's Waterhouse against Arnett Gardens in a battle here that is very crucial to the playoff prospects here for both teams. Two teams with a rich history of Premier League football. Arnett Gardens, 5-time champions of the Premier League. Only Portmore have won more titles than they have. Played on a Portmore championship winning team back in 2012 it was. So he knows what it is like to win championship titles. Would have been a part of the Waterhouse team that lost back-to-back finals, 2018 and 2019, to Portmore. And here's a kickoff with Arnett Garns with the ball inside their own half. Let's see how long they'll keep the ball. Coaches like to see their teams possess the ball. And certainly in the opening minutes of a game, if you start off possessing the ball and looking comfortable, you at least set your fans up for some hope that you'll have a good game. Well, Arnett Garns still keeping possession of the ball, but they haven't tried anything adventurous just yet, just knocking the ball around inside their own half. And here's a forward pass for the first time. So they kept the ball for 34 seconds. I'm not sure Alex Thomas would feel about that.
Well, we know Arnett Gardens is a very good attacking team, especially in the first half, so we'll see what they do. But the last time they played, they've played a very good second half, and that is something to write home about, because then you start to see them coming into the fold. Then you start to see them correcting things that they had a problem with in the second half, and you think, hey, maybe they can continue this until the end of the season. They do have 3 games, including this one, left for the season, so they'll be looking to maybe snatch 9 points, because they will end on 19 points if they do.
Yeah, so Arnett Garns inside their own half with possession at the moment. Ezra and Simpson across. And now in the center of defense, Earl Simpson. That was Cephas getting the ball back. So Arnett at the moment not looking too adventurous. Marlon Martin has the ball. His pass is bad and cut off. Arnett Garns with an early opportunity. Wow, bit of a stumble there from Ronaldo Cephas. He looked to have been away, but somehow had the ball stuck on his boot, and the chance for Arnett to score an early goal disappeared.
That was a very good chance for Arnett Gardens. Was at the right place at the right time. Got through a beautiful floated pass to Ronaldo Cephas. Normally the guy that's the shining light for Arnett Gardens, and the junglists will be reveling in that one. Ronaldo Cephas normally would not have fumbled that one. He would have collected it nicely and probably would have been 1-0 to Arnett Gardens.
Yeah, but I'm not sure why he stopped the ball. He appeared to put his foot on top of the ball to stop it. I think that he would have moved the ball into the box, because any challenging coming up from behind may have fouled him and given them a penalty.
Right.
So he'd be disappointed there. Early going yet, so sometimes in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, you're a little bit not fully loose, and you know, the adrenaline may not be at the level that it needs to be to score goals, but A football game is 90 minutes, and goal opportunities come at any point during that 90 minutes. There's Alex Thomas, the coach of the Arnett Gardens team. Cut short his playing career because of a knee injury, but was a solid player, played in the under-17 FIFA World Cup and the under-20 FIFA World Cup for Jamaica, two young Jamaican teams that reached the highest level of international football, playing in Argentina was the under-20 World Cup of that year. His brother Shabar Thomas was on that team as well. Both of them now coaches. Shabar Thomas now coaching in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Problems here as Binns looks a little lazy. Left-footed strike coming in there from Damari Deacon, but it was off target. But Waterhouse at the very outset here looking a little tentative at the back.
Yeah, a little weird from Waterhouse. Very lazy to give the ball away. And that presented an opportunity. Binns will have to tidy up in terms of collecting the ball because, like I said, they're very attacking in the first half, Arnett Gardens. So they'll be pressing in the first half, especially this Waterhouse team. So any mistake you make and they can punish you. And especially with Ronaldo Cephas coming back into the fold, had a week off due to the storm and the new curfew also. He did have a week off to really rehab somewhat his injury, because he did have some niggle, came back from injury and did have some niggle, had to be substituted in his last game. So he'll be looking to be better this time around, but the man that came on for him scored for him. So not a bad substitution for Alex Thomas. Shadeen Lopez, the one that came on for him and actually scored that goal that basically made it done and dusted for Arnett Gardens against Portmore United.
Yeah, that was a big result.
Very big result.
Yeah, there's Samoy Nash, the teenage goalkeeper who has unseated Akeem Chambers in the goalkeeping position for this Waterhouse team at the moment. Immediately appearing to have some problems there with his leg.
There have been some rotation for that goalkeeping position between Zamoy Nash and Akeem Chambers. This time around, Zamoy Nash gets the start. But a very good teenage goalkeeper is Zamoy Nash. Has a very good reaction, diving time, Zamoy Nash as well. And he's not short at all, I can tell you. So dives for that ball and he's able to stretch for it, Zamoy Nash.
Yeah, Jamaica in the recent decades have not been short on producing outstanding goalkeepers. Warren Barrett, who was goalkeeper for the Jamaica Reggae Boys at the 1998 World Cup, was a pretty solid goalkeeper. Since then we've had the likes of Donovan Ricketts, who was tremendously outstanding in the MLS for his teams. There was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the MLS at one point. Andre Blake is widely regarded currently as the best goalkeeper in the MLS. So
many persons say he should even go to Europe.
Yeah. Oh, ball slips out of the goalkeeper's hand here now. We have Waterhouse with an opportunity. Rapi Thomas there sliding the ball across. Maybe he should have looked inside there for a play, but he did see the inviting opportunity for Campbell coming down the left channel, so he decided to give it to him. Corner kick here for Waterhouse.
Well, they would have had three Thomases on the field had Ricardo been in the starting lineup. But there's Ricardo's brother, Denardo Thomas.
Yeah, he's the man who has gotten the place of Kenwell Howell, who is out injured.
Right.
And Waterhouse was an early opportunity to score here. Guthrie gets in the way and wins a goal kick for his team.
Yeah, so Waterhouse just trying to get their bearings together, but Romeo Guthrie the last 2 to 3 games has been outstanding for Arnett Gardens. And a beautiful goal on the 16th of August. That was a peach of a goal from Romeo Guthrie. Normally he's playing box to box for Arnett Gardens. Normally switches in terms of being in front of the back four and going forward, but normally he's a box to box midfielder, Romeo Guthrie. They certainly need that on-form Romeo Guthrie, not the average Romeo Guthrie, if they want to qualify for the playoffs, Arnett Gardens.
Yeah. A lot of pressure here for Arnett Gardens to get 3 points. If they don't, they can pretty much kiss the playoff spot goodbye, which is very unfamiliar for Arnett Gardens. They're one of the most consistent teams in Premier League football. As are Waterhouse, to be fair. Waterhouse led last season, the season aborted. They were at the top of the table when COVID-19 scuppered the season. They were beaten finalists 2 consecutive seasons before last year. They made the playoffs in 2014, 2015, runners-up in 2013, 2014, when they were regular season champions by a comfortable 9 points. And the season before that, I think 2012, 2013, they also made the playoffs. So Waterhouse, very, very consistent in Premier League football. So too are Arnett Gardens.
Yeah, Mr. Simpson there just getting a talk by Daniel Parchment. Simpson actually was the man that scored. Technically, it was 4 Arnett Gardens players that scored in that match against Portmore United, because Ezra Simpson was the man that scored the own goal, which was a Shavani Willis free kick for Portmore United.
Wow. Campbell goes wide down the left side.
Bradford also coming in as well. Normally comes off the bench, Shaquille Bradford, former Camperdown man. Sometimes used to wear that captain's armband. Was a very good player in the Manning Cup for Camperdown. Very skillful player, knows how to turn the game on its head.
Yeah, has a lot of pace as well.
Did score a brilliant goal against Dunbeholney, that right-footed curling strike.
Waterhouse is an early scoring opportunity here. We saw Thompson score early for Tivoli Gardens in the opening game this afternoon. Can someone in a lime green shirt do the same for Waterhouse? Howell with a cross inside. That's Ramon Howell, Kenroy's younger brother. Ball cut off though.
You can see the resemblance of both Howell brothers. Normally there's 2 sets of brothers that's on the field.
Yeah,
the Thomas brothers, which is Denardo and Ricardo, and the Howell brothers, Ramon and Kenroy. Kenroy plays that number 10 role, does wear the number 10. And Ramon plays also the same as Romeo Guthrie, that box-to-box midfield role.
There goes Cephas here for Arnett Gardens. Goes into the box. Binns misses it. And Cunningham fails to get the control of the ball to get the shot off. Yeah, he'd be disappointed with that.
Definitely. If this was the Janoi Cunningham of the game where they won 3-1 against Portmore United the last game, he would have done much better with that. But very good run by Ronaldo Cephas. This is what they needed, Arnett Gardens. Sending that one inside, and it was just a good defensive play to get in front of Janoi Cunningham to disrupt his flow in terms of running to put a boot on that one, to maybe send that into the back of the net to make it 1-0. So Arnett Gardens, as I said before, attack well in the first half, and they've gotten 2 very good opportunities.
Yeah, real time, Justin. I thought Cunningham got the first touch and didn't hold it well, but very, very good defensive work there that created problems for him and didn't allow him the sort of comfort to, first of all, get the ball cleanly and then get a shot on goal. But it was a delightful pass from Cephas coming in.
Janoi Cunningham, he normally plays that centre-back role for Arnett Gardens. So for a second game running, he's up front playing the striker's role for Arnett. So the Junglists are trying something new. They did it in the for the first time last game. It worked very well.
Well, that could be occasioned by the fact that they are looking for goal scorers.
Right, and
they are missing some key front men this season. Kemal Malcolm, who was their goal scoring leader last year, is now playing in the El Salvador First Division for a team called AD Chalatenango. Fabian Reed, their leading goal scorer all 3 seasons before that, also not in the current setup. So Arnett are missing some men who would normally get goals for them. Cephas under pressure and robbed of the ball.
And when you partner in also the man Marvin Morgan, aka Mr. Man, former St. George's College man, he too has some very good goals in him. He's not in the setup as well.
Yeah.
So you do have some very, very important losses. And then Vishnu Harris is not there anymore. So Lamar Lamar Neal, who would have been very good in terms of creativity for Arnett Gardens. So there are a good amount of people that are not there that basically made Arnett Gardens in the last few years what they were, a consistent playoff team and sometimes title winners.
Yeah, they are rebuilding this Arnett Gardens team, and there is the clear narrative coming from the team management that they are building a new Arnett Gardens team with young players, and they're looking to the future for these players. Foul just outside the box. Oh, that means this inches outside the 18-yard box. Damien Parchment, and the foul there on Damien Binns.
And that was very, very close for Arnett Gardens. Almost gave away a penalty right here, just inches outside the 18-yard box. And that was not tidily done by Marlon Martin. Would have to be very careful. Parchment normally gives some leeway, talks to you 2 times, maybe 3 after that, then he would issue a card. But you wouldn't want to give away a penalty like that, so they have to be careful in terms of how they defend and how they manage this game on it, especially in the first half.
So Waterhouse with the free kick here. That's Ron Beadle standing behind it. I think Binns is there as well, who is preparing to probably strike it left-footed. We've seen him score free kicks before. Binns straight into the wall and low. Disappointing from Binns.
Well, Damien Binns is the brother, of course, of the man Michael Binns. I know you know Michael Binns. He scored a belter against Montego Bay United. And you're the one that called that one and saw that one in real time. That was a very good strike from his brother.
Yeah, that was in Montego Bay.
Right.
Complex there at Catherine Hall. Montego Bay going on to win though, but that was a big moment of the match for Waterhouse. It was a terrific strike from about 35 yards out.
Yeah. But both brothers can strike it from distance, both Damien and Michael. Both play in the midfield role. So there's a lot of similarities between the Binns brothers.
Yeah. Foul committed there on Campbell. I think it was going down for the challenge on him by Damara Deacon. Live wire in the Arnett Gardens team, a very temperamental young player, Damara Deacon. Often seen getting into quarrels with teammates when things aren't happening the way he thinks they should.
A very vocal player.
Yeah. Simpson gets in the way. Howell goes wide. Campbell wider to Denardo Thomas. Thomas would want to go into the box now. This is how he plays. Doesn't have many passing options, being hounded here by 3 Arnett Gardens players chasing him. Now he gets the ball out to Binns.
Waterhouse just trying to settle into their game.
Yeah, there's Beadle. Beadle goes for goal, but poor effort there from Ron Beadle.
I think it was a cross inside the 18-yard box. Trying to find somebody, but nobody that's going to be able to latch on to that one. Rohan Beadle, former Excelsior High School man. And of course, I'm sure that Marcel Fuzzygale would want 3 points. He's on 10 points. 2 points shy of a playoff spot. 4 points off the top of the table. So he'll be looking to really get 3 points in this one. He was in that top position before the season was null and void. He had a very dominant Waterhouse team last season before it was null and void.
Yeah, I think the most disappointed football fans in Jamaica last year when COVID-19 scuppered the season would have been Waterhouse fans, because
definitely.
After being beaten in 2 consecutive finals, they certainly started to feel that this was going to be their year.
Yeah.
And they were ready to take revenge on all the teams who had stopped them in the past, including Portmore, who beat them in 2 consecutive finals. One of them on penalties, by the way.
Right.
So there's no bigger hurt than losing a championship final on penalties.
Oh, definitely.
Donald Ducky, by the way, was the Waterhouse coach that year.
Oh, yeah.
Closest he has been to winning the Premier League.
And definitely, when you really look at it, Lance, there was a coaching change at Portmore United, because at that time when they were dominant last season, Ricardo Garner started to came into the fore as the head coach. So then you had some transition in terms of coaches for Portmore United. So then now you had a golden opportunity to go forward. So Waterhouse really felt undone with the stoppage of the season.
Yeah, Campbell was down just now for a bit for the second or third time in the match so far. Nikolai Finlayson, the most experienced player currently in the Premier League, along with my analyst Chris Scott's brother Edsel Scott, who I understand is still a part of the Tivoli roster. We haven't seen him play now for a couple of years. Strike on goal and a deflection. Denardo Thomas takes the rebound. Can he get the crossing? He does. Header on goal. Oh, what a strike! Ha ha! What a goal! Waterhouse on top by 1-0. And Shaquille Bradford was the man with a header. His second goal of the season. And Waterhouse are in front by 1-0 and are positioning themselves now in a playoff spot.
Oh, that was very well done by Waterhouse. They were patient and saw many players open. It was a shot deflected initially, and then Denardo Thomas did well to stop that. A very good header by Shaquille Bradford. Normally a substitute, starts today and comes up chumps for Waterhouse. Did that traditional hug that normally St. George's College players do to the man Neville Burtis Bell, but a man who's a part of the George's coaching staff, the man Marcel Fuzzy Gale, is the one that returns the favor. But a very good header by Shaquille Bradford in the 20th minute. They were patient, they saw someone open, and that man was the former Camperdown man, Shaquille Bradford. It's 1-0 to Waterhouse.
That was a fine goal. Very, very outstanding goal, because the cross was played with some pace, and if it wasn't that half-diving effort from Bradford, he wouldn't have gotten the header to it. And in the end, got a really, really neat header that gave Davis in the Arnett Gardens goal no chance at all.
Credit to Denardo Thomas there for stopping it cheekily. Did with his outside foot, which is left foot, stopped. Saw the run of Shaquille Bradford, went into position. Shaquille Bradford very well, or very good moving inside the space that was in between the Arnett Gardens defenders, and all he needed to do was head that one and target. And not only did he do that, but he got that goal for Waterhouse. So Arnett Gardens really have to dig deep if they want to.
Colorado Murray doesn't get through there as Ezra and Simpson put some pressure on.
2 games left of the season. Arnett Gardens really wouldn't want to lose this game and possibly be out of a contention in terms of qualifying for the playoffs. There's still 5 points adrift. Now Waterhouse are 13 points. They are possibly now level. Well, not possibly, but as it stands, they're level on goal difference with Portmore United. So if they do win this game by a further margin, then they would go into 3rd position. So very interesting times ahead, and that's why this has been such an interesting business end of the season, because anything can happen and any team can qualify, because it's not far off in terms of 1st to maybe 8th or 9th position.
Yeah, Deacon is apparently badly hurt, so the late challenge on him, the yellow card comes out as well. And we're moments, I think, away as well from the water break.
And I heard a lot of his teammates say, don't foul him, don't foul him. And he just clattered into him. Got the ball, but got the play as well. And Daniel Parchment decided to give him a yellow card, Wilson. That's the 1st of the game. And it went to a Waterhouse player.
Confirmation of the yellow card to Elvis Wilson for the Reckless challenge on Deacon. Free kick here to Arnett. And Guthrie's there. Guthrie has an ear for scoring brilliant goals. All 3 goals that he has scored in Premier League football at 22 years have been good ones. But it's not him taking this one. The left-footed strike and a penalty. Handball. An immediate opportunity for Arnett to respond. And Kimani Campbell deemed the guilty of handling the ball in the box and gets a yellow card as well. And a penalty to Arnett Garns. Quick opportunity to make it 1-1. Will they do it?
4 minutes after a very good goal from Waterhouse. It's a very good free kick. And I'm not sure from that angle if it necessarily hit his hand.
Yeah, he looked disappointed with the call, but
yeah, because
referee
I thought
Parkman
that
seemed very confident at the same time.
I thought that hit his shoulder. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not sure if that call was. But Danian Parchment did 100% point to the spot.
Penalty. And this is Cephas who's going to strike it, I think. Well, goalkeeper Nash getting an adjustment to his boot laces. And Cephas patiently waits. Has already 1 goal so far this season, Cephas. And there's his second. 1-1 the scoreline. Cephas buries it firmly with a right foot. And Arnett are back in business at 1-1.
That was a very good penalty from Ronaldo Cephas. His 2nd goal this season. And I tell you, the first goal that he scored was the first game that Arnett Gardens scored more than 1 goal in a game this season. So Ronaldo Cephas, I tell you, he is the star for this Arnett Gardens team in terms of going forward. And a very good penalty. And he took that one with authority and sent the keeper the wrong way. So Ronaldo Cephas puts them back on level terms, and it's game on for Arnett Gardens.
Yes, so Cephas strikes his 2nd goal of the season. He had scored in their 2-1 win over Humberland back in mid-July. And he's on target again, in the same way that Shaquille Bradford, as we enter the water break, netted his 2nd goal of the season just minutes earlier for Waterhouse, having scored his first also early July in a 2-0 win over Dunberhold, and it was a stoppage time goal then by Shaquille Bradford. He makes it number 2 now. I was making the point as well that even though Arnett Gardens fans will be disappointed, Chris, with how things have gone for them this season as they're struggling to make the playoffs, the truth is that they are in the embryonic stages of rebuilding, and there are so many new players in their setup. Just before the COVID-19 break last year, Arnett's last Premier League game was against Waterhouse. It actually ended 1-1. The similar fixture here we're seeing now.
Right.
And the only 2 players who were in that team for Arnett Gardens who are playing right now on the field are O'Shane Roberts and Damari Deacon. No other player on the field at the moment here for Arnett Gardens played in that last game of the last aborted season. So this is a new look Arnett Gardens team, and to be fair, the fans have to be patient. You're not going to have such wholesale changes in your setup with primarily young players, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, young, early 20s, and get immediate results.
Yeah, it's a rebuilding process for Arnett Gardens if that's what they're trying to do. As I said, we listed out many players: Kemal, Tul Malcolm, Marvin Missaman, Morgan,
Fabian Reed,
Vishnal Harris, Lamar Neal. There's so many players that they've lost in terms of Damian Hyatt as well. So there are so many players that they've lost, but this young team If it's anything to go by, in a few years there might be a problem.
Yeah, there are promising signs about this young Arnett Gardens team. They're up against the Waterhouse team that is far, far more advanced as far as experience is concerned. And for them to be battling in a 1-1 scoreline at the moment here with Waterhouse has to be some credit to them.
Yeah.
This is a Waterhouse team, as we said, that played 2 of the last 3 finals, and last year they were leaders when the tournament was aborted. Many of these players were there then in that same setup.
I was just about to say that many of their players were in the setup. There are 1 and 2 changes, of course, but you look at the Howell brothers, the Thomas brothers as well, Finlayson,
Binns,
so many players.
Arnett on the counter, Cunningham, Guthrie. Deacon. His pass inside is pretty weak. Martin goes way over to the right side. Guthrie. Good cross inside from Guthrie. Finlayson with a clearance. Campbell. Ezra Simpson. Earl Simpson. I've been impressed with Ezra Simpson at central defence for Arnett Gardens all season. Plays with a lot of composure. His touches on the ball solid.
That's what you need from a defender. Composure. Being able to control the ball well and basically stop the momentum of an attacking team.
Yeah.
And if you don't have composure and you're not able to get those vital touches on the ball as a defender, then you're going to put your team in problems.
Yeah.
So if Ezra Simpson is doing all of that, which he is, then Arnett Gardens just needs to fix that attacking option. I think finishing has been their problem this season. They've gotten a lot of chances, Lance. They've just not finished them.
Yeah, well, that will always be a bugbear for coaches.
Right. Only 1 time this season they've scored 3 goals or more in a game, and that was that 3-1 win against the defending champions. So see the possession, 56% for Arnett Gardens. Not a surprise, actually. No matter which team they played, even against Portmore United, they had a better possession in the first half than the defending champions.
Yeah. Guthrie now has the ball. Long ball for Guthrie. Deacon tries to get away, but Beadle gets in the way. Cephas. Deacon wants the ball, but he opts instead to give the ball to Donovan Sigree. No Guthrie. Pass cut off. Thomas now has it for Waterhouse. Player with a lot of pace than Arda Thomas. And there goes Binns.
Just like his brother, Ricardo Thomas. Ricardo Thomas does have a lot of pace as well. Denardo Thomas learning from his brother as well. There's a player down on the field. It is Shaquille Bradford.
Yeah.
And he seems to be holding his right foot.
They just past the half-hour mark, so we're 13 minutes to the half-time break. And on that rebuilding score for Arnett Gardens and the fact that they're searching for goal scorers, which usually is not an Arnett Gardens problem, because remember Fabian Allen scoring, I think, 16 or 17 goals to be the leading goal scorer 3 or 4 seasons ago. He always scores upwards of 10 goals per season. Kamal Malcolm had 11 goals last year when the season was aborted, and I think 2014 Kamal had about 13 or 14 goals. I was checking some stats, and they have failed to score in 4 of their 7 games this season, Arnett Gardens, before today. And that certainly isn't an Arnett Gardens culture. They usually score a lot of goals. You may score against them, but they would score a lot of goals. The last 5 completed seasons, Arnett Gardens scored 248 goals, Chris. 248 goals. All other teams scored below 200. So that tells you that Arnett by far has been in the past 5 completed seasons the most prolific goal scoring team. So for them to be struggling to score goals this season just tells you that this is not characteristic of Arnett Gardens.
Certainly a rebuilding process for Arnett Gardens.
Good football in midfield from Arnett, but now they've given it away courtesy of a short pass from their captain Romeo Guthrie. Bradford holds the ball up really well. Now Howell comes in support. Campbell is there offering himself as a passing option. His pass is a little wayward. Oh, beautiful skill from Wilson. Looks very solid at central defense for Waterhouse. His ball handling skills immaculate. Not often that you have central defenders displaying the sort of ball handling skills that Wilson has so far in this match. Shot on goal that goes high.
Normally it's Sean Dwyer that is paired with Nikolai Finlayson. But Wilson has stepped in for Dwyer. Very good touch from him.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with his touch on the ball. That is quite often, you know, the part of the game that you look forward in your midfielders and forwards. The defenders should be robust and good readers of the game, good tacklers, good headers. Not that they can't have good touches of the ball, but it isn't
not their main objective.
It's not the priority of a defender.
And that always puts defenders over the top.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why one of my favorite Jamaican footballers all time was Anthony Corbett. Call him Batters. But I guess he had an advantage because he was an outstanding midfielder in his earlier days. So ball handling skills for him just came second nature.
Sigri just couldn't fed that ball through. Sigri, I believe in the last game, had 2 assists for Arnett in that 3-1 win against Portmore. Donovan Sigri, former Wolmer's man.
Beadle's pass forward is a good one to Rafiq Thomas, the veteran. Thomas to Beadle. Beadle's cross inside is a little too close to the goalkeeper. 10 minutes to the half-time break, and we're 1-1 between Waterhouse and Arnett.
And Rafiq Thomas as well coming in for Leslie, who, well, not Leslie, but Fletcher, who normally starts for Waterhouse. So there are some changes made by Fuzzy Gale to maybe spruce up this Waterhouse team. And it seemed to work for the first 20 minutes. But then that penalty makes this level terms with 1 apiece. And it was a man that normally is a substitute, Shaquille Bradford, that scored for Waterhouse.
Ball crossed inside here. Murray trying to set the ball back inside for the return pass, but he had just too much weight on the pass, and Kimani Campbell had no chance of getting to it.
I think it was the weight of the pass before he received it from Colorado Murray. I think that was the reason why Colorado Murray's pass was so wayward, because he did a one-touch pass. And I think with putting just little power, because of the speed and the power of the pass before to Colorado Murray, that made it wayward. So maybe a control or maybe just putting your foot there would have been suffice for that pass to the wide for Denardo Thomas. So Waterhouse have something to look at.
Murray goes down there from the challenge from Ezra and Simpson. Pretty late challenge from Simpson, and he, not surprisingly, gets the yellow card for it.
Yeah, normally composed Ezra and Simpson as it pertains to tackling, and that was a rash challenge. Didn't get any of the ball at all. And Colorado Murray not one to just drop on the floor. He does like to continue. Colorado Murray, a very tough fellow. That's the second yellow card of the game. Well, third, I should say.
Yeah, he was one of the goal-scoring buys for Waterhouse when they lost Kimar Beckford and Cardell Benbow to Mount Pleasant and needed reinforcement up front to sort of get some of the goals that Benbow and Beckford would have gotten for Waterhouse. But so far, Murray hasn't delivered at the same scoring rate that those two did.
So, sometimes it has to do with injuries, because I believe that Colorado Murray would have started this season had he been fit. So I think injuries played a part in that, and I mean they really wanted to replace a lot of people, because as you said, you know, Bembo leaving, also Bushy Beckford leaving, Tremaine, rest in peace, Tremaine Simpson, Tremaine Stewart, who would have played with Dumby Holding. So they lost some players, but that's the business of football, isn't it?
Yeah. Denardo Thomas, his cross inside gives Simpson some trouble. He has no option but to knock the ball behind for a corner, but that was a very testing cross inside that caused Arnett some difficulties.
Yeah, very good ball by Denardo Thomas. Normally plays on the left, switched to the right here. Very, very telling ball. Had Ezra not latched onto that, I feel that Rafiq Thomas maybe would have tapped that one inside and put it into the back of the net. So good signs again from Waterhouse. Arnett would have to be careful.
And kind of searching across sometimes that you see deflected into goals easily. Oh, that was a header on goal that went wide. Stumbling effort there from Finlayson. Finds himself in the box. 17 or 18 years of Premier League football now, Nikolai Finlayson, having represented Reno in his early years, I think in his late teens. Very, very solid defender and a tremendous servant to Waterhouse football. Unfortunately for him, no Premier League titles to boast of.
Came close.
Several times.
Several times. But Finlayson still has nothing to show for it. But Finlayson really would want to get a title before he retires. There's Alex Thomas. Did fought hard and got back into the game, although beat from 6 yards out, the penalty spot.
Yeah. Some issues there for his goalkeeper, Shaquan Davis. Arnett Gardens, one of the tougher teams to hold a head coaching job at, because the community is very passionate and demanding about the performance of a team. And if you're not a mentally strong individual with a broad back, you can easily feel intimidated as the Arnett Gardens coach when things aren't going well.
Yeah, that is why Jerome Waite had flourished that amount of time at Arnett Gardens, and even somewhat channeled into Charlie Smith's team, because he was somebody that did not back down. He was brass, and he knew what it took to get the best out of his players, and that came in the form of winning titles for Arnett Gardens.
Yeah, and he had success too, so that was part of the strength that he had. But you're right, there were times when the season wasn't going that well and Jerome had to be strong, but said he was a part of the Charlie Smith coaching setup back in the 1980s and so on, and he understands the community well.
Right, and it bears some success, and that's the reason why a lot of these Arnett Garden fans expect something from them, because of the success they've had.
Rafiq Thomas's pass forward there, just too much weight on it, and Davis, alerting goal for Arnett Gardens, comes and snuffs out whatever danger may have been about to happen there. Simpson, that's Earl. Deacon. Bad pass by Deacon.
This is their 49th meeting, Lance. 49th.
Yeah, well, they're Casafa Giants, aren't they?
Oh yes, they are.
Yeah, so they will, and they have generally been consistent in the top flight. You don't hear about these teams getting relegated from Premier League football, so they will have multiple head-to-head meetings, scores of them.
Yeah. Majority of the wins going to Waterhouse with 20. And of course, 20 losses that means for Arnett Gardens.
Cunningham getting a good pass there from Deacon, turning, pivoting and striking out goal, but going high. But complimentary response there from him on the build-up.
Definitely. No stranger to scoring goals between these two teams. And over the course of those 50 games, they've scored 110 goals.
Wow.
61 going to Waterhouse and 49 going to Arnett Gardens. So not short on goals, but home is where Waterhouse shines. 35 goals for Waterhouse, and away is where they decide to shine as well. 25 away goals for Arnett Gardens, 24 at home. 26 away goals for Waterhouse, 35 at home. So when you talk about goal scoring teams, between these two, 110 goals over the course of 48 games. It's 112 now over the course of 49.
Yeah.
Something to see, an attacker's dream, Lance.
Yeah. Interesting stats there, because we just spoke earlier on about how prolific Arnett Gardens are with scoring goals, and for Waterhouse to outscore them head to head tells you that Waterhouse has had a good time against Arnett Gardens.
Definitely, but different scenes in this one. A step by Shaquille Bradford. I think his expression knew that he was late.
Yeah.
And that expression was an apologetic type of expression, we know.
Yeah, slowly hurt by the challenge there, and here's Waterhouse on the counter. Slowly getting in there and putting some pressure on. Here's Simpson for Arnett. Now Damari Deacon. He wants some passing options at the moment. He gets it from Cunningham. Deacon controls well outside the box, but he's under a lot of pressure here from Wilson. A huge difference in size and muscle mass between the two. And not surprisingly, it's the Waterhouse man that comes out on top.
A very good defensive play by Wilson. Knew that he had the bigger body in terms of size and maybe muscle, and how muscled the Arnett Gardens player Deacon. So you need that for your defenders. One-on-one defenders need to make sure they're smart when to go in for the challenge, when to go 50-50, and Wilson did that very, very well against Deacon.
4 minutes added on for stoppages. 1-1 the scoreline at the moment.
I would think that maybe Arnett Gardens would come in, would be the better of the two teams if it does end this way in the first half.
Murray sends the ball out wide to Campbell. Campbell's cross is dangerous and muscled in on goal. 2-1 now to Waterhouse. So Waterhouse, just before the halftime break, comes back and restores the lead. Damien Binns' third goal of the season for the veteran. And he's all smiles.
We talk about the commentator's curse. That was the analyst's curse. And again, they were patient. They saw where they could have been effective. And again, it was across from the left side, which means that the left side is the Achilles heel for Arnett Gardens. Send that one inside. And Damien Binns was just there to gobble up that challenge, because initially it was not for him. Initially it was for Shaquille Bradford, and he wasn't able to head that one on target, but Damian Binns was right there and he was able to finish that. It's 2-1 to Waterhouse, so they restore their lead.
Yeah, Binns there in stoppage time of the first half. Just using his thigh to heave that one over the touch line. Anything counts.
And if you go to international football, it was a very similar goal in 2014 that Thiago Silva did score against Chile in that round of 16 matchup. But as you say, anything, you can take it as long as you are onside and it's in the back of the net by you or by even anyone else.
Yeah,
it's a goal.
Yeah, so referee Daniel Parchment has seen enough of the first half. It's the end of 45 minutes, +4 added on. And Ronaldo Cephas, who drew Arnett Gardens level from the penalty spot after this man, Shaquille Bradford, had given Waterhouse the lead. And then in stoppage time, the veteran Damian Binns snuck in on the far post and used his thigh to bundle the ball over the line. Didn't have any options there because the ball just appeared for him. Back at the UWIJFF Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence, Jamaica Premier League football, powered by Digicel. And it's the closing match in Matchday 9 of the competition, and Waterhouse are leading Arnett Gardens by 2-1 at the moment.
And Anderson normally starts over slowly in terms of that flank, that wing back, that full back position. But today slowly starts over him. Didn't do bad in the first half. But they believe that he wasn't as effective because 2 of the goals that was scored was on the left-hand side for Waterhouse, which was on the right for Arnett. So didn't do bad because they were not attacking on his side. So he did pretty well for that fullback position slowly, but normally it's Roberts that starts. Anderson, I should say. And he's back into the fold for Arnett.
Howell heads across there. Fletcher, who's just on, gets his first touch of the ball. There's Marcel Gale, the Waterhouse coach. A lot of pressure on him. I was mentioning how difficult it is to be a coach at Arnett Gardens. I would suggest that the same is true for Waterhouse. Difficult to coach in that environment. Waterhouse fans very demanding and are very intolerant of failures from their Firehouse team.
Definitely not. And you have to be a tough individual as well to coach Firehouse. Can it be what Jamaicans will say soft-as? Because you know you have to have that mental toughness to coach those kind of teams.
High header back there from Simpson, his goalkeeper, Shaquan Davis.
Davis had to jump and stretch for that. Header by Ezra Simpson, who has been also something to talk about in that Arnett Gardens defense. touch on the ball is very good. Reads the game well. It has to get that consistent pairing with Earl Simpson, because that has been the problem as well.
Arnett Gardens haven't beaten Waterhouse, I believe, in the last 5 seasons of Premier League football.
Right. They've had drawn games, but the last time that Arnett Gardens, it's been a while since Arnett Gardens.
I think if you go back, you'll probably see something like January 2016 or something like that. It's been a long time, I can tell you. About 5 seasons.
It's been a while.
Which is a very significant fact, because Arnett Gardens have been champions during that period.
Right.
And have been solid during that period.
That means it has not deterred them under Jerome Waite. They still have gotten the last laugh, so to speak, because they've lifted the title, which during that time, a couple of years ago, that they did beat. And that was you see that challenge on Shane Roberts.
Free kick to Arnett. Just about midway the Waterhouse half. Goalkeeper Nash trying to organize his defense here. Roberts with a free kick, threatening it is. Finlayson up with a header. Or Bince it was. Rafiq Thomas knocked off the ball there by the Arnett number 8, Marlon Martin.
Can I say that Marlon Martin has to be careful? He's really having some rash challenges in this game so far. Not sure why. I think Denardo Thomas thought that he ran out of real estate in terms of putting that ball into touch, but should have continued his run. The coaches always tell you, Lance, to play to the whistle. If you don't hear it, continue.
Yeah.
And if he had continued, maybe he would have spelled some problems for Arnett. Well, more problems, because Arnett trail again at the end of the first half. So Arnett have to be composed, because for most games of the season, their second half has left a lot to be desired. I believe the last game where they did win by 3-1 was their best second half the entire season.
Yeah.
So they would have to produce that again if they're to win.
Bince doesn't have much support here. He's being crowded by 3 Arnett men. His cross to the near post, easily handled there by Nash in the Waterhouse goal. Sigri for Arnett. Roberts with a wide pass, but it's over the touchline for a throw to Waterhouse. Here comes Ramon Howell. Thomas, whose cross and the flying header from Shaquille Bradford would have been the highlight of the first half. Howell. Murray. Thomas. Oh, great ball inside here to Fletcher! 3-1! Waterhouse taking full control, and the big Neymar fan is celebrating another goal this season.
He had a goal in the game against Mount Pleasant, and he has a goal here in this game against Arnett Gardens. Shaquille Bradford, his replacement, or the one who he replaced in this game, scored, and now he has scored. A very, very good run between the 2 Simpson defenders, and a very, very exquisite finish. And that was just a lapse in concentration by Ezra and Earl Simpson, and a very, very good finish. Look at the height of his Waterhouse players, jumped straight over, and that seemed to be Colorado Murray, but the man of the moment right now is the substitute, Andre Fletcher. That was a very, very good finish. Calm, cool, and collected. And Andre Fletcher doubles that advantage. 3-1 for Waterhouse to Arnett Gardens. And now, with this scoreline, Lance, they're now into 3rd position.
Yes. Ahead
because
of
they would have a +5 goal difference And Portmore has +4 with 13 points. So they will go into third position and have a chance now of maybe that automatic qualifying spot, which they did have when the season last year was null and void.
Yeah.
So very interesting scenes here at the Captain Horsburgh Center of Excellence. This is what we always watch the Jamaica Premier League for, because it's a lot of suspense.
Campbell going all the way. Still Campbell. Tumbles over in the box. Penalty. So things are falling apart here for Arnett Gardens. The referee, Daniel Parchment, has awarded for a penalty on this challenge on Campbell, who daringly took the ball all the way to the box from the half line almost. Andre Fletcher is the man who is going to take it, so he will have an opportunity to score his second goal of the match and his 5th of the season.
Kimani Campbell, very well done. And that was not a good challenge by Earl Simpson. Was watching the run of Kimani Campbell and then just swiped at his foot, which was not the best.
Well, he came on as a substitute today, Andre Fletcher, and within 9 minutes, he has an opportunity to hit a double from the penalty spot. Goal number 5 for the season for Andre Fletcher, 2 for the afternoon, and the former Dint Hill man celebrates just minutes after coming off the field for the second time.
And he is now on a hat-trick alert, because that's a double for the substitute, Andre Fletcher. Former Dint Hill man has come into this Waterhouse team, and that's his 5th goal of the season. He'll be looking to maybe get that golden boot, but 4-1. It was 2-1 at the end of the first half with 55 minutes gone. It's 4-1 in a flash. And that man who scored from the spot, very good penalty from Andre Fletcher. We talk about the authoritative penalty taken by Ronaldo Cephas in the 25th minute. That was a very good penalty, and with power and placement by Andre Fletcher. Now we're looking out maybe that he might possibly score a hat-trick and further dampen the chances of Arnett Gardens.
Yeah. I wondered why he didn't start today, because as the leading scorer for the Waterhouse team, you would have thought that he would have been a first choice pick to be on the field for the start today, but he came off the bench and rewarded coach Marcel Gale with a double in quick time.
And the man that he replaced him,
ball crossed inside, deflected behind, corner to Waterhouse, I think.
The man who replaced him, Shaquille Bradford, did in fact score.
Corner to Arnett, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. You know, it's one of those things where Bradford was enjoying a good game and a fantastic goal to boot, and he would have been disappointed that he was forced to come off the field because of the injury. But his disappointment is Andre Fletcher's enjoyment.
Certainly. And even though he's disappointed with that injury that he has suffered, that thigh injury which had him come off at the start of the second half, he'd be pleased that his replacement did score a double.
Several red shirts in the box for Arnett Gardens, trying to make a game out of this. They're trailing 4-1 at the moment. Yes, from Simpson unable to steer that header on goal.
Really wanted to leap over that Waterhouse player to get that header on target, but missed him completely, couldn't latch on to that one. But Arnett Gardens really now have to dig deep, because this is just playing into what everybody has been saying, that they've been playing as 45 minutes rolls on. So the second half have been very, very poor this season for them. They did play an excellent second half in that 3-1 win against Portmore United, and now they've resorted back to how they've been playing in the second half. And that has gifted Andre Fletcher with 2 goals in quick succession.
Ball over the touchline for a throw to Waterhouse. So Fletcher, at 22 years old, enjoying his best Premier League season. This is his third season in the Premier League. Ball crossed inside here. Arnett's defenders getting the ball away. Ezra Simpson finally with a touch out to his captain Guthrie. Anderson. Campbell. Ball played a little too straight, too close to Ezra Simpson, who gets in and knocks the ball back to his goalkeeper. I'm saying that in 2 seasons of Premier League football, Andre Fletcher had scored 3 goals. He is just partway through his 3rd season now, and he's already scored 5. So by far his best season so far. Coming into this game, he had scored against Harbourview and Malines.
And Mount Pleasant too.
Yeah, Harbourview and Tivoli.
And
Harbourview, Tivoli and Mount Pleasant were the teams he had scored against coming into today's game. And Mount Pleasant and Tivoli have been among the harder teams to score against. So I think it says something, you know, that he had scored goals against those teams who generally are tight defensively.
Absolutely. And now he's tied on goals with Andrew Vanzi from Humble Lion, and he's just one behind Akwasa Chong of Harbourview. So only 2 players now have scored 5 goals.
Yeah, Deacon with a left-footed effort on goal, but shot doesn't have any venom.
And before that double from Andre Fletcher, 5 players were on 3 goals. 2 players were on 4, 1 was on 5 and 1 on 6. Now, after that double, 2 players are on 5, 2 on 4, 1 on 6 and 4 on 3. That's exquisite.
Yeah, tight battle going on there for the Golden Boot.
And had this been a normal season, would have been in for a treat. I can tell you that. If it was continuing in this direction, Lance.
Yeah. Deacon trying to feed Cunningham through there, but put too much pace on it. And the thing about it at the moment, Harbourview are not in a current playoff position, so Akwasa Chung's Golden Boot bid could be affected if he doesn't get Harbourview in the playoff positions. Left-footed strike on goal by Donovan Sigree, but it's wide. He has dragged it. Yeah. So on the hour mark, Waterhouse in a flash are up front by 4 goals to 1, and they are now number 3 in the league at the moment.
So as we said, as it stands right now, Waterhouse, they're just 1 point behind Veer and Mount Pleasant. And the reason why, as we see another substitution, the reason why it's because they have a better goal difference than Portmore United, the defending champions. It seems to be a substitution.
Several of them.
Right, Steve Clark.
Yeah.
Is there. We see also Siobhan Stewart, former St. George's College man, also went to Excelsior High School as well. And Rafiq Thomas is the man he replaces, but we all know where he made his name in terms of schoolboy football. As we see Shadeen Lopez, the man who scored the 3rd goal for Arnett in that 3-1 win against Portmore United. He comes on for Damari Deacon.
Yeah, so he's on for Deacon, and Steve Clark comes on for Ezra Simpson. Wow.
So an attacking player to replace a defender. So maybe Janoy Cunningham would sit around the back with Earl Simpson.
Yes.
Because as I said before, Janoy Cunningham normally plays that centre-back role, so he would sit with Earl Simpson and Ezran comes off. So I think that is one of the versatility with the first time they decided to put Janoy Cunningham as striker, because you can have him come back in defense if you decide to make an attacking change for Ezra or Earl as defenders.
Yeah, which is what they've done.
Did come up chums against Portmore, but it has failed here at the Captain Horsborough Centre of Excellence against Waterhouse. They're trailing by 4 goals to 1.
Yeah, Arnett Gardens snapped a 4-game winless run with that handsome victory over champions Portmore last match. But at the moment, they have fallen back into the losing rhythm.
Yeah, and this is the most they've conceded in a game this season. Before this, they suffered a 3-0 loss against Cavalier. And the man Doxley scored that scissors kick against Arnett. And that was when they plugged him into the middle of the park after they saw that he wasn't an effective left centre back, Melvin Doxley, the St. Lucian. But this has been their game that they've conceded the most. And most games that they've lost it's been 1-0 margin. So it's not like they're losing by big margins consistently. 2-0. They lost 1-0 to Mount Pleasant. They lost 1-0 to Tivoli Gardens. They lost 1-0 to Veer United. So this is their second game where they've conceded 2 goals or more.
Yeah, Clark gets his first touch of the ball now and dribbles right-sided. Hustled off the ball by Campbell, who's played well at left full back for Waterhouse today. Denardo Thomas. Fletcher, the man of the moment. Binns. Campbell. Denardo Thomas. Fletcher is in the box waiting for it, looking for a hat-trick he hopes he can get. But Thomas unable to make it count. Campbell does really well here to win the ball from Clark.
Former Jamaica College man Kimani Campbell has been a very good serviceman for Waterhouse this season as that left back.
Yeah, Lopez foul spins.
And he has been very good going forward. A very versatile fullback. Normally, effective fullbacks is either it's a topsy-turvy. Fullback is either they're great going forward and not so great defending, or they're great at defending and not so great going forward, but he is versatile in both. No communication between those 3 players up front for Waterhouse. Seems to be Stewart, Fletcher and Thomas, Denardo Thomas, and they could have had an easy 5th one because Andre Fletcher was to Thomas's left, and he did make that run again between those 2 defenders. This time it would have been Anderson and Cunningham, but didn't decide to play back and they just left the ball alone, so nobody there to meet it.
So Waterhouse cruising at the moment, and they'll be very, very satisfied with what they've been able to achieve so far in this fixture. Howell, Thomas. Arnett seeming to be running out of ideas here. Whistle. Free kick to Arnett.
Rightfully so. Not a bad call. Easy call for Parchment. Howell just stopped the run of Roberts right in his tracks. When you do that, you get called. So
Anderson. Not a meat on that driven ball inside. Clark has pace. Wow, what was that?
A I'm not sure. He did try to use his speed to get by the defender, didn't, because the space was not there for him, and it was basically blocked off again by the defenders, who have done pretty well for Waterhouse in this game. And Waterhouse are tied with Portmore United on the most clean sheets, so defensively they've been good. So they've been good defensively, and this is not good for Arnett. They've conceded 13 goals this season in this 4-1 scoreline with Waterhouse. Only Humble Lion have conceded more, Lance, with 15 goals.
Yeah.
And Arnett Gardens again still struggling to score goals. Arnett, 6 goals they've scored, well, 7 goals they've scored. Only Malines United have scored fewer. So not a very good score line at all in terms of goals scored and goals against. The goal difference now has climbed up to -6. That's the second worst in the league, behind Humble Lion, who are on -8.
Yeah, well, you know what? Even in Arnett Gardens' most successful seasons, they haven't been the best at preventing goals against them. What they've been good at is scoring goals. So they would outscore teams even if they are scored against. So you'll score 2 against them, but they'll score 4 or 3. But because they aren't scoring as prolifically as they would have in the past, their problems are now magnified.
Not the greatest defensive teams, of course, for Arnett Gardens, but they were one of the best attacking teams. If you're scoring over 250 goals over what, 4 or 5 seasons, then attacking you're one of the best, but that has been plaguing them this season. And that is why I also spoke about the goals that they've scored. They've tied with Humble Lion, scoring the second least amount of goals. And that's not like them.
Yeah. Stewart. Play with a lot of quality, Stewart. Yeah, Waterhouse bossing the game now. They're pretty much doing as they like on the field. There's seemingly no response coming from Arnett. Apart from some moments of aggression.
They really would want to continue playing like this for the rest of the season. It's the business end of the season, Lance. And Waterhouse would have played their 8th game of the season after the conclusion of this one. And in 3rd position. So they're really in the driver's seat in terms of maybe getting back to that automatic qualifying spot, because if they do, it would have been a very good turnaround for Marcel Gale. But no surprise if they do get that automatic qualifying spot, because they've gotten it under Fuzzy Gale before, and they were going to achieve it again. And I think that the season being made null and void, Lance, really slowed their momentum down, which is one of the reasons why they started slow the first couple of games. But even though they've started slow, they've only gotten no points in 1 game. They've only lost 1 game.
Yeah. Great ball. Campbell has a lot of running to do, but doesn't get it.
And I think the problem, one of the reasons why they are so far back, they were so far back, is because actually, Lance, they're the team that has lost the most points from winning positions in a game.
Yeah.
So with that, and you tie into the fact that they've only won twice this season, this would be their third win of the season, then that was the reason why they were so far back.
Arnett on the advance now. Lopez. Martin. Ball cut up there by Wilson. Fletcher.
So good seems to be on for Waterhouse.
Thomas. Falls. Free kick to Waterhouse. Just about 22 yards out.
Waterhouse has been so in control of this game after they took the lead in stoppage time in the first half, Lance, and this is the Waterhouse that we knew last season, and this was the reason why they're so dominant. 2 changes made. Briano Thompson for Ronaldo Cephas.
So just giving some new players an opportunity to feel top flight football, because their playoff hopes have now disappeared.
And Nathan Thomas coming on. Nathan Thomas, they call him Kante, formerly of Kingston College, did score that all-important goal in the final against St. George's College in 2018.
Thomas's strike straight to goalkeeper Davis. No problems for him there. But look at the scoreline. 4-1 in favour of Waterhouse. A double strike from Andre Fletcher.
Well, his first goal was very well done. Very good run made.
Excellent recovery there from Elvis Wilson.
He's done pretty well in this game, Lance, pairing with Nikolai Finlayson, the captain. And he's done actually a lot of the dirty work, because most of the attacks from Arnett have come onto his side of the field, so he has been made to do a lot of the work. So Finlayson has done very well, yes, but I think that Wilson has done a lot.
Anderson steals it for Arnett. Yeah, the ball over the touchline from Guthrie.
Clearly.
Unable to keep it in, and he knows it.
He tried to be sneaky and run the ball into the danger area, but the second assistant saw that one all the way through. And Lance, this is their 4th time Waterhouse they've scored 2 goals or more in a game. And the 3 previous times they've won on 2 occasions. The other time they drew 2-2 with Cavalier, and it was a double from Binns.
Yeah.
So this is their first time this season they've scored more than 2 goals in a game, and they've done it so eloquently. They've done it so easily, because they're able to go through or cut through this Arnett Gardens defense, especially Andre Fletcher, who came on and has been such an impactful player for Waterhouse since he came on for Shaquille Bradford. And both persons, Shaquille Bradford scoring the first goal for Waterhouse, and Andre Fletcher scoring a double the last 2 for this St. Andrew-based team, Firehouse.
Arnett on the advance, but Wilson bangs the ball out of the danger zone. And Waterhouse coasting here now. Number 3 they are in the table now, behind Vere and Mount Pleasant. Just 1 point behind those 2 leaders.
And Lancia feel the momentum shifting in favor of Waterhouse, and I think that's going to be the danger for other teams against this Waterhouse team. With Fuzzy Gale and knowing these players, the experience, and then the vibrant young players, having like Rohan Beadle, Shaquille Bradford, and then you have the experienced players, even Denardo Thomas I would see as an experienced player. Kenroy Howell, Ramon Howell, Damian Binns. So if you give them some momentum, then it's going to cause problems.
Yeah, Thomas just losing his concentration there, taking his eyes off the ball and losing it. Anderson for Arnett. Thomas. He somehow didn't like his forward passing options, so he's started things up from the back now, with Simpson having possession. Lopez with a chase. Whistle. Handball, I think, for Lopez. But I think that's what Daniel Parchment, the referee, is saying.
Yeah, it seems to be his left arm. Shadeen Lopez. Very good ball by Earl Simpson to try and find Shadeen Lopez, the substitute. And it seems to be another change for Waterhouse. And it's Dunkley. Wilson coming off.
Or is it Wilson? Well, Wilson has gone to the sidelines.
Yeah, it is Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson is off.
And Devon Dunkley making his way. Wilson Noah has had a very good game defensively.
He did pick up a yellow card earlier on, not too sure if that has contributed to him being substituted here.
Maybe he'd want to keep things under wraps as it pertains to not getting another yellow card. So I think that is the reason why Fuzzy Gale decided to change him. But
Finlayson goes long down the left side. Campbell. Arnett still keeping them honest here. Great ball there by Guthrie to Clark, but Clark can't retrieve it. I think the bounce on the artificial surface probably misguided him, because he thought he had it. Somehow the ball crept behind him.
Very good run by Steve Clark in between the defenders. If he had latched onto that, it would have been problems for Waterhouse. Wouldn't want Arnett Gardens to have some hope that they might get back into this game. But that was a very sneaky run in between the defenders by Steve Clark. Very good vision by Romeo Guthrie, the captain for Arnett.
Yeah, Guthrie does have those passes in his boots. It's one of the reasons why the Arnett Gardens team management has so much confidence in this 22-year-old. Elevating him to captaincy of this young team there. He's with the ball now. Good pass to Anderson. Lopez under some pressure to keep it, but does. Simpson tries to force the ball forward there, looking for Thompson, doesn't find him. Just over 8 minutes of normal time remaining now. And Waterhouse are coasting to what will be their most emphatic win of the season so far. Great ball in. Lopez can't get the shot off, and Clark overruns it. The ball slides behind him while he slides. Yeah, he's disappointed.
That was a golden opportunity for Arnett to make it 4-2. A very good ball and a very good passing play. Thread that ball through. I think it was by Donovan Segree. And of course, the man Shadane Lopez saw that Kimani Campbell was hounding him and decided to send it across to try and find Steve Clark. But Clark slid and couldn't get that shot off. So Siobhan Stewart, who was a substitute, is substituted and returned onto the pitch after that injury that saw him out for some time is Ricardo Thomas. So substitute being substituted.
It's actually Beadle that's off then. Yeah, Stewart is still on.
Yeah, so Rohan Beadle putting a fairly good effort, midfield effort. But it's very good to see Ricardo Thomas back onto the field. A very, very good fullback.
Yeah.
Normally links well on that same side with his brother Denardo Thomas.
Colorado more with a right-footed effort on goal, but directed wide of the target, and he's disappointed with the effort.
He wanted to curl that lance, but it curled the wrong way.
Yeah.
Wanted to curl it more to the left, but it curled to the right. So it's an outward swing rather than an inward swing. I think it would have been even worse for Arnett.
Yeah, an unfamiliar feeling for Colorado Murray. He's scoreless so far this season, which is an unfamiliar situation for him. Well, he does have one goal, I should say, but usually he's prolific. But you said he had injuries and so on, so his season hasn't been the best.
Yeah, has had, I think, 3 or 4 starts. The first couple of games for the season, he didn't start because of injury, and of course, the assistant coach Damian Gordon, as well as when I spoke to Marcel Gale, he did say that injuries was the reason why he did not start in the season. He said it was a like-for-like change because, of course, a man like Kemar Bushy Beckford and Cardell Bembo went to Mount Pleasant a few years ago. So they would have wanted a like-for-like change, and Colorado Murray's a very good change.
Javon James is now on for Denardo Thomas, so you won't have the two Thomases on at the same time, because as Ricardo comes on, his brother Denardo is off.
Well, technically was for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Nash is on the floor. So, I mean, there have been some very good players in this Waterhouse team for this specific game that was working well, but I think the most impactful player is the man that came on for Shaquille Bradford, Andre Fletcher. Ran into a lot of spaces. Not only were his 2 goals vital to maybe cushion Waterhouse, well, not maybe, but definitely cushion Waterhouse, but a lot of those runs in behind the defender, a lot of those runs in between the spaces. And Simpson has really had a tough time since Andre Fletcher has come onto the field.
Yeah. Stewart. Fletcher. Stewart under some pressure here from Thomas, but young Thomas very robust in his challenge, and now rounds a foul with a referee Daniel Parchment free kick to Waterhouse, 30 yards out.
Yeah, that's been Stewart's game from ever since at St. George's College. Not easy to get him off the ball, and you see he was hounded from one former North Street player to another. Is Nathan Thomas, formerly of Kingston College, challenging Siobhan Stewart, formerly of St. George's College.
Waterhouse with a long-range free kick here. Hits into the advertising board. Substitute Javon James just coming onto the field and immediately given the privilege of hitting a free kick from 30 yards out.
Wanted to go for the spectacular. Wanted to go for the spectacular, Lance. And like I said, any more goals in this game would be going from bad to worse for Arnett.
Yeah, I really can't recall Arnett conceding 4 goals in one match. Certainly they haven't in the last 2 seasons.
Well, they haven't this season. This is the most goals they've conceded this season. As I said, the previous record, or should I say the second most, was against Cavalier when Shanil Thomas and Melvin Doxley got on the score sheet in that one.
Yeah.
And they lost 3-0.
Yeah, well, there were games last year where they conceded 3 goals because their season last year wasn't very good. Fletcher, can he make the hat-trick here? And he does it on the near post. His eyes lit up there because there was the opportunity.
Oh, definitely. And he will be trying for the last minute and a half plus stoppage time to try and get that hat-trick. Really wants that hat-trick.
Yeah, I would think he would have already sewn up the man of the match honor.
Oh, definitely.
Andre Fletcher.
Like I said, those telling runs in behind the defense, he has been doing it for the second 45 that has caused the 2 Simpson defenders problems, and one had to be taken off basically, and he constantly runs at that Achilles heel of the Arnett defense. So definitely he has been one to watch, but that was a very clattering challenge by Earl Simpson, and it has rewarded him with a yellow card. Dion Parchment has rewarded him with a yellow card. Well, I shouldn't say rewarded, awarded him a yellow card. And wouldn't want to go back to injury. Ooh.
Yeah, Simpson there with a very reckless challenge.
Very, very reckless. Just swung his foot into that challenge. Was Earl Simpson. Take another look.
Yeah, that borders on red card.
Yeah, definitely. Dion Parchment just being very lenient there. I can tell you some referees would have given him the color of his shirt and given him marching orders. So he has to be careful. Well, it's 90 minutes now, 2 minutes of stoppage time minimum added on. But in this game, Lance, Waterhouse looks like a well-oiled machine. And even as different players come out and different players come in, it's worked perfectly, and they've not missed a beat, even with different players coming onto the field.
No, they haven't. They've looked very, very pleasing in their performance today for Coach Marcel Gale.
And they could have scored more with these substitutes.
Stewart gets by his man, charges towards the 18-yard area. Stewart still has the ball. Stewart crosses inside. Not enough pace on it. I think he was going for the pass to Fletcher, but Davis was alert.
He's down on the floor holding his left foot, I believe. No power on that pass to send it inside. Fletcher is just yearning for that hat-trick. He really wants it. And with a couple seconds left, I don't think he's going to get it, but really wants a hat-trick.
Ricardo Thomas does well here to regain possession of the ball. Stewart is hurt, but he struggled out of the offside position to make sure he didn't hamper any positive play there by this smart-looking Waterhouse team. James tries to win the ball.
I honestly think, Lance, this is the best I've seen Waterhouse this season in terms of how they've been able to put plays forward, in terms of how they've been dangerous attacking. And I think that Marcel Gale will be very happy. I think Marcel Gale will be very, very happy. But seeing Siobhan Stewart and he does not look good.
Yeah. And the referee, Damian Stewart, has seen enough. 4-1 the victory margin here for Waterhouse. I think this is their biggest victory since September 2019 when they hammered Harbourview by 7 goals to 0.